What context engineering actually means. Context engineering represents a systematic approach to information management that mirrors how humans actually work with complex problems. Think about the last time you asked a colleague for advice on a complex project. You didn't just ask, "What should I do?" You provided background context. You explained the constraints, shared relevant documents, described the stakeholders involved, and outlined what you'd already tried. Your colleague needed all that information to give you useful guidance. Context engineering works exactly the same way with AI models. As Andrei Karpathy describes it, context engineering is packaging and managing the context needed for a task, much like an operating system curates RAM. Instead of spending time crafting the perfect question, context engineers focus on assembling complete information packages that give models everything they need to succeed. This represents a fundamental shift from trying to manipulate AI responses through clever wording to simply providing better information. The difference becomes clear when you compare approaches to the same task. A prompt engineering approach to analyzing quarterly sales data might look like this. Act like a senior business analyst with 20 years of experience. Analyze this sales data using advanced statistical methods. Think step by step and provide actionable insights. The context engineering approach uploads the actual sales data using GPT-4's file upload capabilities, includes previous quarter reports for comparison, provides market context documents, adds competitor analysis reports, and includes company strategic goals. Then it simply asks, "What insights do you see in this quarterly sales data?" Effective context. Assembly involves three core components. Background knowledge includes industry context, historical information, and relevant expertise that informs the task. Relevant files encompass documents, data, previous work, and reference materials that directly relate to the problem. Environmental setup covers tool calls and guardrails that define how the work should be completed, as Nico Vo noted about providing tools, agents, and environments so LLMs can find context independently. This mirrors how humans actually process information and make decisions. When you're solving a complex problem, you don't perform better because someone asks you in a special way. You perform better when you have access to complete, relevant information. Modern AI models follow the same pattern. They process information more like human experts than like search engines that need specific keywords. Context engineering works better with smarter models rather than becoming less effective over time. Advanced models like GPT-4 can process larger amounts of context, understand complex relationships between different pieces of information, and maintain coherence across extensive background material. ChatGPT Pro supports even greater context handling through file-based inputs, creating a sustainable approach that improves as AI technology advances. Context engineering reduces what researchers call the fog of war that models face when solving complex tasks. Without sufficient context, models must make assumptions, fill gaps with general knowledge, or hedge their responses with uncertainty. Complete context eliminates ambiguity and enables models to focus their processing power on analysis rather than guesswork. This approach represents a fundamental shift from AI manipulation to AI collaboration, treating AI systems as capable partners that need good information to do good work. The question becomes how organizations actually implement this approach across their operations. The great prompt engineering collapse. Remember when you could add "let's think step by step" to any prompt and watch GPT 3.5 suddenly perform complex reasoning tasks? That phrase was pure gold in early 2023. It transformed basic models into seemingly sophisticated problem solvers with just 4 simple words. Today, try that same trick with GPT-4 or Claude 3.5 and you'll get a polite response that essentially ignores your little nudge. The model was already thinking step by step without your instruction. This isn't just one example falling flat. The entire ecosystem of prompt engineering tricks is crumbling. Those elaborate role-playing prompts, bribery techniques, and chain-of-thought methods that once seemed magical now provide minimal impact as models naturally exhibit sophisticated behavior. As McKay Wrigley noted in the conversation on X, these days you get way less performance bonus out of dumb tricks like "I'll pay you $100 if you get it right," which is how it should be. The fundamental problem with prompt engineering was always that it treated AI models like search engines or databases that needed exact keywords to function properly. This approach assumed models were fragile systems that required precise wording to unlock their capabilities. But modern language models don't work this way. They understand intent and context naturally. Asking them to pretend to be someone else or threatening them with imaginary consequences doesn't make them smarter or more capable. We fell into this trap because early AI models were genuinely limited and inconsistent. When GPT-3 first launched, the difference between a good prompt and a bad one was dramatic. Success felt like discovering secret codes that unlocked hidden AI potential. Communities formed around sharing these discoveries. People built entire businesses, teaching prompt engineering courses. The psychological appeal was obvious. It felt like having insider knowledge that could make you an AI whisperer. But this created a brittle system that required constant maintenance. Every model update broke existing prompts. Teams spent hours debugging why their carefully crafted instructions stopped working. The cognitive load of maintaining these elaborate prompting systems became enormous. Companies hired prompt engineers whose job was essentially to keep up with an arms race that was already being lost. Model improvements have naturally reduced hackability across the industry. The most advanced AI systems today are designed to be helpful regardless of how users phrase their requests. The goal was to make AI more accessible, not more dependent on secret knowledge. This made prompt engineering a losing game where the house always wins. The most successful AI practitioners today focus on providing comprehensive information rather than crafting clever questions. They've realized that asking the right question matters far less than giving the model the right information to work with. This shift represents something much more fundamental than just a new technique. It's a completely different philosophy about how humans and AI systems should collaborate. Context engineering represents the evolution from AI manipulation to AI collaboration, much like how we naturally work with human colleagues by providing comprehensive background information. We've moved beyond trying to trick models into better performance through clever questioning techniques. Instead, we're building partnerships with AI systems by providing the information they need to succeed. Start auditing your AI inputs today by assembling a context folder rather than tweaking your prompts. Take a moment to identify where you're still relying on prompt tricks rather than complete context packages. The shift from manipulation to collaboration reflects how we naturally share information with capable partners. If this gave you a fresh perspective on AI workflows, hit subscribe and let us know in the comments how you plan to apply context engineering to your projects.